Hey guys, I'm Beats, and today I want to talk to you about my decision of adding a subwoofer to my monitoring setup. So recently I've purchased an EVE Audio subwoofer TS108 model. This is the 8-inch subwoofer. I want to talk to you about what made me take that decision, and I want to share my experience with the entire situation. This will be me answering a few questions that I had in the past before buying a subwoofer, because the information online is pretty limited and I've struggled in the past in finding information that will help me in my decision to get or not to get a subwoofer. For a really long time I was happy with my monitoring setup. In the past I've had a pair of Neumann KH120, now I have a pair of PSI's A17M. Both pairs are amazing speakers. I think that they are top in that price range. The speakers are really linear, but they are small near-field monitors that don't have enough low-end extension. That's not a big issue if you spend enough time learning the speakers that you have. For example, the Neumanns go down to 52 Hz and the PSIs go down to 43 Hz. Below that, the frequency response is not that flat. With both pairs that I have, I was not feeling the low-end energy. When we are talking about sub-low information, frequencies below 50 Hz, it's more of a feel rather than hearing those frequencies. I never had issues with my mixes translated because of the speakers, rather because of my mixing skills or lack of mixing skills. But when it comes to low end, I always felt that I was mixing in the dark because I couldn't hear or feel the low end of my mixes, especially when mixing genres like trap, like rap, with big 808s, with a huge amount of energy in that area. You cannot take decisions based on something you cannot hear. That's why a few years ago I've decided to look into getting a subwoofer. From the information online, there were people saying that it's a really bad thing to add a subwoofer in a small room. Most videos were reviews without any helpful information for my cause, for my decision in buying or not buying a subwoofer. For a few years I was really skeptical, but now I've been using the 108 subwoofer from EVE for around a week, I think, and I'm happy to report that all my concerns are gone. The subwoofer fits really well in my setup, and now I am enjoying a full range monitoring setup. I can hear down to 33 Hz, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. You can hear every single sub, you can hear the kicks, the 808s. It's absolutely eye-opening for me. Now I want to talk to you about the decision of going with an EVE Audio subwoofer. There are plenty options when it comes to subwoofers. First, I was thinking about adding a PSI subwoofer. That's pretty expensive. I need a lot of flexibility. I need the option to mute the subwoofer. I need the option to control the level of the subwoofer without going under my desk. I need the option to listen just to the satellites, so the main speakers, without the subwoofer, because it's a small room and sometimes I just don't want that much bass in the room. I need to have control over every single aspect of my monitoring setup, and here's where EVE Audio really shines. Probably the feature that made me take this decision and go with this route. The EVE Audio subwoofer is controlled with a DSP, so you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to basically everything on that subwoofer. You have this really cool remote control, and I will explain every single function on it in a bit. Being a DSP controlled subwoofer, it allows me to save a lot of money, because if I had bought like the PSI subwoofer, I have no doubt that that subwoofer would be really amazing, the quality on it and the sound really great. But to have this sort of control on a subwoofer, you really need a monitor controller to do that, because the PSI subwoofer is analog. No digital control, you don't have a remote, you don't have buttons to push, you just have physical knobs. The monitor controller with that type of flexibility can be up to 5 grand. that's a crazy amount of money. It's out of my budget and out of my need in my situation. With an analog subwoofer, I had to cut the bass on the main speakers, and I didn't have the options to bypass that crossover point to listen to the full range of the speakers. With the EVE Audio subwoofer, you can control every single thing. So now I want to take a bit of time to talk about the remote. This is, in my opinion, one thing that really separates EVE Audio subwoofers from the other analog subwoofers, because you have full control over it. On top we have LED. With this we can switch between a few options on the LED on the front panel. Then we have the on and off button, have a phase button, system volume. With this we can control level up, level down on the overall volume, so subwoofer plus the satellites, the entire system. One amazing feature on the EVE Audio subwoofer, we have the pure satellite mode. With this mode, the subwoofer is bypassed, the crossover between the subwoofer and the speakers is removed, so you are listening to your speakers without any sub, without any modification. For me that's pretty important because I am already used to the sound of the PSIs, and I need to have that ability to just change to the PSIs without any sub. Then we have a sub filter. This is where we can change the frequency of the subwoofer, mute, and the volume on the subwoofer, which is pretty important because you can fine-tune the balance between your speakers and the subwoofer. And this is the remote control. The build quality on it, plastic, it has a nice feel to it. I think this will not break really easy. This is always on my table. When I need to reference, I just take it. With the press of a button, I can listen just to my PSIs. I can just increase the level of the subwoofer. With this remote, I can control every single function. That's pretty amazing. The TS108 subwoofer goes down to 33 Hz. It weighs, I think, around 10 kilos. It's a pretty big boy. It has some weight to it, which I like because I don't want the subwoofer to rattle around the room when I play music. It has a passive radiator design. That means no ports for the air, no noise created by the airflow. I really like that. It allows me to have it really close to the wall, even though it's not recommended to have it that close. I hear no issues with the subwoofer being that close to the wall in my room. In the end, I think that more important than all the specifications, all the shiny things, all the remotes, I think it's the sound. And I have to admit that I am pretty impressed with the subwoofer and how it performs in my room. The best way to describe the feeling of having a subwoofer in my room with my current monitoring setup is that when I bypass it, I miss it. And that says a lot about how the EVE Audio subwoofer integrates with my monitoring setup. It's not intrusive, I cannot hear it, it's there, I feel it, but when I bypass it, it's just I really appreciate having a subwoofer now. The bass is more punchy, the bass is tighter, and it fills the room really nice. Do you really need a subwoofer for mixing? I don't think it's essential. I've mixed thousands of records without having one, but now that I have one, I don't think I want to go back on using just my regular speakers without having the full range capabilities. And I really appreciate the system because it took a lot of the load off my main PSI speakers, which are amazing speakers in the mid-range. And with the PSIs working a bit less in the lows, they are capable of more beautiful mids, and that's another thing that I really appreciate. I hope that you found some helpful information in this video. If you're having any doubts about getting or not getting a subwoofer, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, hit that like button, follow me on Instagram. Thanks for the support and see you guys really soon. Cheers.